So the point of the hypercube experiment is to know that in order for something that is higher dimensional to be perceivable by a human being, it has to move through reality in a way where all its parts are going to be positioned in a four-dimensional setup. So as these things are in line, the light, the pyramid, the contrast between the shadow, we understand that the hyperdimensional movement is, so you would see it go basically from one edge of observability to the other as it comes in, and then it would disappear. And I can't claim that I know for certain, but string theorists have math that suggests that 10 dimensions exist. And 5 dimensions are pretty easy to palette. And I've done 100 videos about this, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But when you look at black holes and things that cross the event horizon, there's an inevitability that happens, that those things run out of physical space to move, and they now are time traveling. Anything that goes into a black hole is forever, and you could travel through time as though you could travel through space, but your physical position will never change. So there's an arrow of time in this reality, right, that always goes one way, and we're free to move around our bodies. But on the other side of this singularity, you can't move anything at all except for through time. So if a hypercube goes from one edge of observability to the other and then disappears, on the other side of what could be considered a door to the successant 5 dimensions would always exist, and be able to go to the very outer limits of time, which in this universe are, we know 14 billion years ago. So now you have to think about hallucinations as hyperdimensional objects, because things that are not bound to space-time have information that help us learn about reality. And if string theory can prove that 10 physical dimensions exist in the way that I just described, sacred geometry will be super relevant, and people will know about doors and transdimensional experiences with hyperdimensional colors that are not bound to the fabric of space-time. Reality is much deeper than space-time. Death will show you that in the end, I promise. But obviously, you have to believe it or not. It's in the spiral that eventually gets to a point. The movement, even the Bible says there was movement in the void before there was light. And then comes the light. But the movement of a spiral comes to a concrescence where it has to go either left or right. It has to transdimensionalize itself from its inward motion to go either left or right, up or down. You know what I'm saying? That's why spirals are sacred. Circles, some things must come to an end, yes. Always conclude so that the next moment can happen. Yeah. And so there's an affirmation every time a circle happens. You know what I'm saying? And each shape represents something, and then you have to look into morphogeneticism or morphogenetic fields and understand not even that, but that the placement of physical objects in a room has a direct influence on the way things happen.